away.
Okay. Kind of like a cold open then.
Kind of like a cold open. You know, one thing that just reminded me, because we used to do these things called cold opens. I used to listen to a lot of podcasts in the car because that wonderful commute of mine of I-4 allowed me plenty of opportunity to listen to podcasts. So during this shutdown, I got way behind on a lot. It basically came down to what can I listen to while I'm taking a dump. And I got really, really far behind. But as I have to commute once again on I-4, I realized, I feel like I've told this story before, but I'll go ahead and repeat it. I wish my car had 3 different designated horn sounds.
Okay.
One in the left, one on the right, and a big bastard in the middle. And the big bastard we'll get to, but the one on the left would have this really, actually, it would keep the horn that I have because I have a Kia Soul. And the horn that sucker's got is really, really pathetic. It sounds,
Yeah, we have a Kia Soul as well. I'm familiar with the sound.
Okay, so yeah, you know it's not intimidating. It barely scares birds.
Sure.
And I wish, I'd keep that, and that would like indicate my mentality of, excuse me, sir, the light has turned green. I'm not in too big of a hurry, but if you want to keep going, we're good to go. I totally understand what you're looking at on Reddit on your phone is kind of interested in everything, but it's time for us to move along. Let's go. Okay. And then like a second horn on the right, which would emphasize some kind of urgency, but not crazy. Like, oh, hey, hold on, you're about to merge into my lane. Whoa, no, don't. Okay, just nothing that crazy. And then the really big horn means get the fuck out of my way.
Yeah, no, that's all logical to me. It makes sense to me.
Does it?
Well, yeah. I mean, I've driven on I-4. I understand the logistics of driving on I-4. You need at least 3 different horns. Several.
Well, it sounds like a shotgun loading.
I was about to say several automatic weapons. A couple of ill intentions, and yeah, then you've got a chance to actually make it to work on time on I-4. But
even that would be a challenge. But hey,
yeah. So my podcast time was because when I worked at Full Sail, my commute was rush hour every day. To and fro was rush hour in Orlando.
Ouch.
So I had a 6.5 mile drive home, which to those of you not in Orlando, you go 6.5 miles. So that's what, like 15 minutes of driving? Oh, contraire, mon frere. No, my 6.5 hour drive in the afternoon regularly took me about 2 hours to get home. Because I would just be stuck on 436 or Howell Branch or 1792. God. Because I was going from Castleberry to Altamont, and it was 2 hours of podcast time. On Tuesdays, it was great because Tuesdays is when I call my grandpa. So I'd talk to him on the phone for 2 hours, and that was fine. But yeah, other than that, it was like every other day was like, okay, it's going to be 2 hours of nothing. Let's listen to a podcast. All right, let's do that.
Because I can't listen to music anymore in the car. It like dulls the senses.
Music is for work for me now because I got so used to having Spotify and I use it all the time now. So I'm working. That's what I need to work. I need to listen to music to get my job done. So yeah, long car trips are now audiobooks and podcasts.
What did you listen on the drive to Tennessee last year?
Victor complaining that we were in the car too much. Primarily. Welcome to episode 84 of the Cretins Guild podcast, by the way. We listen to a lot of music. But I think the main thing we listen to I think the first 2 books from the Dresden Files. To listen to those on the drive down because they're vampire magic books, but they're not scary. So Victor could listen to them as well. And when he wasn't paying attention, just played on the Switch. But that was primarily what we listened to because I think it was a 10-hour drive for us to get down to Gatlinburg.
Okay.
Because I mean it's pretty much the halfway point between Michigan and Florida.
About 12 hours for us.
Yeah, it might have been closer to 12 hours. But we stopped in Cincinnati on the way down, and to a couple places that we knew there that we really liked. And, but But yeah, it was primarily audiobooks. I think it was Dresden Files that we listened to.
We had a 2-hour clip of our favorite Weird Al songs.
Nice.
So we would listen to that, let the boys watch a DVD. Then we would listen to the Weird Al clips again.
Okay.
And then another DVD. And we knew that once the Weird Al had finished out, it's like, okay, now we need to pull over, have like a little pit stop, and everything's groovy. We continue the cycle all over again.
Yeah, absolutely. Guys, if you're just tuning in, welcome to again episode 84 of the Cretins Guild podcast. We are part of the Podfix Network. Podfixnetwork.com. You can listen to podcasts like the Perfect Package podcast, which is Podfix's newest member. Chad and Dave select a weekly theme and design around that for the perfect movies, characters, and plot, with choices coming from a snake draft build. So if you're familiar with how Bob and I did the sports movies a couple of weeks ago, doing our snake draft there, kind of unintentionally stealing their shtick. Sorry, guys. We that's kind of what they do with their sitch over there. But yeah, it's a great show. Bob, you were just on it recently, right?
I was. We built like the perfect Halloween franchise.
Okay.
So we started with a character. One of us would throw out a pitch of an idea, then the next person would pitch an idea, and then we would develop like a plot and then characters and just how it would be franchised and everything. And it was a lot of fun to listen to. It's a good short listen, nothing too crazy, and it's just basically two guys laughing at their own jokes, which I thought was funny.
We're used to that. We understand how that goes.
Yeah.
Speaking of Halloween, how was your Halloween?
Halloween was actually better than I was anticipating, because I thought, like 2 months ago, like Halloween's canceled, nothing's going on.
Mm-hmm.
Luckily, there are reruns when it comes to costumes. I've done it myself as a kid, but my guys dressed up as Woody from Toy Story and the Scream character from Scream, the Scream Ghost.
Ghostface.
Ghostface, yeah. And we had like a really ingenious thing where I took a pool net, attach it to an extended pole, and what they would do is they would knock on the door, step back, and they would stick the pole out, so they're like the good 6 feet distance.
Sure.
And I like everyone said, "Oh, that's a really good idea." And I loved how like one of our neighbors was handing out candy through tongs. So it was like, "Oh wow, people really got this down pat."
That's awesome.
Yeah,
that's awesome. Real quick, I'm all kind of scatterbrained with how this is going to be run today, but just so everyone knows, prepare yourselves, because we are going to talk about episode 1 of The Mandalorian season 2. It's coming up. There will be fucking spoilers, so just get ready. If you haven't watched it yet, don't tune out of the live cast right now. Yeah, for season 2, episode 1, there will be spoilers discussed. We will be talking about spoilers. We'll be talking about the episode, but first we got some stuff to talk about Halloween, and we're going to talk about our previous episode. Real quick, for us, we didn't do anything. We didn't go out. I bought a like $15 bag of candy at Costco the week before. It was all the good stuff. It was like Kit Kats and Almond Joy, right. Hershey bars, and Reese's cups. We put that in a big ass bowl and sat on the bed and watched movies. We watched Beetlejuice and Addams Family with Victor for the first time.
That's something.
Yeah, and a couple episodes of Treehouse of Horror. So yeah, that was our Halloween. We decided pretty early that Halloween wasn't happening this year. It was just
outside the house.
Yeah, outside the house.
We celebrated your own way.
We weren't trick or treating. We're up here in Michigan, and there's a heavy Al-Qaeda presence where lots of you guys heard about our governor's kidnapping plot. So there's a lot of that up here. So we decided that since there's a lot of mouth breathers up here that don't wear a mask to breathe through their mouth, we weren't gonna risk it. We weren't gonna take any chances. So we just stayed home and had a very nice, chill, relaxing Halloween. It was actually pretty cool.
Good. I mean, some Halloween's better than no Halloween.
Yeah, absolutely. And last year it snowed on Halloween. So
no kidding.
Yeah, we got like 3 inches of snow on Halloween last year. So it was very cold and very wet. So it was nice to just, put the electric blanket on and lay on the king bed and watch some movies this year. So
snuggle up with some sandworms.
Yep, exactly. So if you guys listened to last week's episode, Bob and I, because Corey wasn't here, we were allowed to talk about sports. And we discussed our favorite sports movies. Now Corey again is not here this week. He was actually waylaid on his way back to the East Coast from the West Coast in Texas, and is currently being held captive in the Alamo, and is being held hostage for a bike, which is a little weird because none of us ride bikes or own bikes. So
he's
sorry, Corey, if you have a Wi-Fi connection and you see this, let us know that you're okay. But we can't bust you out because we don't have a bike. But we talked about our favorite sports movies and what our favorite ones were. And Bob, I understand that we actually got some feedback from a listener.
Yeah, we got a comment from Theme Park Rob I wanted to share. Theme Park Rob is a guy that I've met through. He's like a friend of a show kind of deal.
Okay.
But
okay,
we communicate back and forth, and he had some thoughts he wanted to share. Sharing my 2 cents on this. His particular 5 sports movies in no particular order. First off, A League of Their Own, and he's saying that this might have been a lifesaver for the sport of baseball. And now that I think of it, yeah, it did come out at that time when baseball was in really big trouble for a number of reasons.
Yeah, absolutely.
Then he said, Slapshot, as a side note, I saw the Cincinnati Cyclones and the Johnstown Chiefs play a couple of games at War Memorial there where they filmed Slapshot. Now, I want him to actually, if he listens to this, I want him to tell us if those games are what were being filmed for the movie, or he just happened to be there watching a game in the same building as the movie was shot.
Well, Cincinnati Cyclones are a legit ECHL team,
right?
They're one of our team's big rivalries up here with Kalamazoo.
Yeah, so, I think they used to be in the IHL as well.
Probably, yeah.
That sounds familiar, at least. So after that, he says Friday Night Lights. He loves high school football, and Texas high school football is brutal. No, I'm not going to say he's wrong there. It's a religion, basically.
Sure.
And then basically Caddyshack, because goddamn, it's still funny.
Yeah, Caddyshack is pretty perfect.
Yeah, and he ended up with Raging Bull because 2 words: Scorsese and De Niro.
That's 3 words.
Yeah, it is. But we're not going to fault him for counting.
It's sports. We don't have to worry about counting in sports. That's fine.
So again, thanks for Theme Park Rob for commenting on that. We love getting our comments.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I flirted with putting A League of Their Own on my list because it's a good movie. Just, top to bottom. It's Tom Hanks. He's marvelous in everything he does. And the cast just overall is killer. Mm-hmm. But I don't know, for some reason I just didn't put it on there. I don't remember why. I think because I put Bring It On there or something like that. I don't remember what else I put on there. But Bring It On's a great movie. I don't care. It's a good list. It's a good list. If anyone else wants to chime in, I know Corey had threatened to have his own list of movies that are about competitions and maybe not necessarily sports, which is fair. Sports are a little out of his wheelhouse, but I'd like to see what that is from him. But if anyone else has anything to add to that, I'd love to hear their thoughts too.
Absolutely.
All right. So I mentioned it earlier, guys. It is now spoiler time. We are going to be discussing season 2, episode 1 of The Mandalorian, which was phenomenal.
Yeah. In the simplest of words. Yeah.
So if you have not seen it and you do not know what has happened in this episode, tune out and just come back next week. Because that's going to be the rest of the episode. Pretty much. We're going to be talking about,
put the episode on pause. It'll save your spot, especially listen on Podbean or iTunes or whatever. Come on back after you watch.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely correct. And if you don't plan on watching, why? Yeah, that's dumb. Don't be that guy.
You're not a Star Wars fan. That's un-American.
Yeah, exactly.
You must live in Nevada. Any indication of what night we're taping on?
Yeah, I am. For those watching live, there is the CNN window is playing underneath our current chat window here on StreamYard, so I can see if anything breaks right now. We're down to 2,400 votes in Georgia separating the presidency right now. And Pennsylvania's down to 48,000, and that was over 1 million yesterday. So shit's going down, folks.
Wow.
So let's talk about season 2, episode 1.
Yeah, enjoyable stuff.
Yeah, enjoyable stuff. Like really good stuff. Like we start off with Mando entering a city. We see some red eyes in the shadows, which are nice and creepy. It's a nice. Ooh, it's almost Halloween. This is fun. There's something spooky to start things off with.
All right, did you think those were Jawas at first?
I did not think they were Jawas. I actually thought they were Lothcats from from Rebels. Like that was the first thing I thought. I was like, ooh, are we getting Lothcats? Are we getting live action Lothcats? They were not Lothcats. Unfortunately, they were not, but that's okay. So we open with Mando going into a fight pit, where a couple of Gamorreans are, trying to chop each other up with some vibro axes. And he sits down and talks to a Cyclops. Did you notice who voiced the Cyclops there, Bob?
I noticed the voice was very familiar. The name of the character was Gor Koresh, by the way.
Yep. Yeah, Gor Koresh. Yep.
And I'll go ahead and let you say it, but afterwards, I'm like, no freaking way, that was him.
Yeah. Really, really loved that John Leguizamo voiced a character in this show. He was awesome. Like I listened to it and I was like, that's familiar. Why is that familiar? That's really familiar. And yeah, it was. I looked it up afterwards. Like, oh shit, it was fucking. That's great.
Well, I saw his name in the credits. And I'm like, who did he play? He played the Cyclops, didn't he? Oh my god.
So basically, what happens is Koresh tries to take the child from Mando, or actually, he wants the Beskar from Mando. The child closes his floating bassinet, I guess. It's, yeah. And Mando shoots off the whistling birds, kill all of his bad guys. He breaks the dude's hand with his head from the Beskar steel armor. Long story
Twice
short,
he got punched in the helmet. I'm like, okay, first off, I can forgive it. The second time, why are you still hitting him in the head?
Yeah, not a smart move by that Zabrak. So we get outside. Mando lassos Gor Koresh and strings him up from a light pole, and asks him to tell him where the other Mandalorians are, and swears he will not die by his hand if he tells him the secret.
Great line.
I will say, the second he said that, I was like, well, there's some shenanigans happening now.
Yeah.
And he to his credit, he didn't kill him. He did not use his hand to kill him. He shot out the light and let the critters get him. Oops.
I guess they were gremlins or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know what they were, but that's okay. So basically what happens is Gor Koresh tells him to go to Tatooine because there's a Mandalorian on Tatooine. Now, everyone who has seen Star Wars before knows that the only Mandalorian that's ever been on Tatooine is Boba Fett.
Right.
So all of us are instantly thinking, Boba Fett? Boba Fett, where?
Nice. Now, when you heard that, excuse me. COVID's got me. No.
Oh, God.
The joke. When you heard that, did you think... I don't know about you. My reaction was like, oh God, we're going back to Tatooine again. It seems like every franchise of Star Wars goes to like these backwood planet Tatooine places, and to the point where it gets, can we see something new, please? But I like where it went. Now, how was your feeling when you heard Tatooine at first?
Well, I didn't mind Tatooine, to be honest with you. To me, a lot of the problem that I had with the prequels, most of the sequels, and then the new series is that it was a very inner rim facing series. Like everything was focused, like everything radiated out from Coruscant and Naboo and stuff like that. You had glimpses of the Outer Rim, you had glimpses of Tatooine, you had glimpses of Hoth and stuff like that. But for most part, everything is very centralized to Coruscant. And the interesting shit happens in the Outer Rim. That's where you get away from the Jedi. That's
where the Hutts rule.
Yeah, and it's where you get away from the magic. You get to the little bit grittier and nastier shit, right?
Yeah, so Prohibition doesn't apply here.
Exactly. So you go from, well, the Jedi and the Sith are, the Jedi have a temple on Coruscant. It's the governing power of the universe, of the galaxy. et cetera, to I've heard there were magicians called the Jedi once upon a time when you're in the Outer Rim. So things get a little bit seedier, a little bit more dangerous in the Outer Rim, and frankly more interesting because we don't know anything about it. We only know Tatooine, and I don't have a problem with them using Tatooine as a reference point. And once he landed and he talked to what's her name,
the mechanic,
Pelimato, who's played by I can't remember her name from Upright Citizens Brigade.
Amy Sedaris?
Yep. From UCB. She plays that character. I love that character. I think the character's wonderful. She's a perfect kind of entry point into that world for a fan because she is just a fangirl. That's basically all the character is. I
love that they brought her back.
I do too. I love that they brought her back. I love that she had the R5 unit that blew up on Luke and Uncle Owen.
Oh my God. That was just like the first of like 100 callbacks. I'm like, that's R5, isn't it?
Yep. And when they showed him up close and he had the carbon scoring around the bad motivator on his head, I was like, that's wonderful. That makes me so happy.
Oh yeah.
She still had her pit droids, which I liked because I love the pit droids from the prequels.
But you like droids now, huh?
Yeah, that was so funny. But once they talked about that or once they discussed the different settlements on Tatooine, and they said, well, yeah, there's Mos Espa and there's Mos Eisley, but we're not going to talk about those. We're going to talk about Mos Pelgo. I was like, well, that's new. That's completely new. I don't know anything about Mos Pelgo. I'm intrigued. Something's going to happen here, and I don't know what it is. So Mando goes to Mos Pelgo and gets just a phenomenal spaghetti Western entrance into the town.
Walks into a bar.
Yeah. Well, he rides in slow on his horse, right?
Oh, that's everyone, right. With all the villagers like staring him down, like who's this
everyone
stranger?
Stops and stares at him. It's like, who's this weird dressed guy riding into our town, right? And he goes into the bar, and there's a Weequay there, which is awesome. Weequay were the skiff guards for Jabba the Hutt in Return of the Jedi, and he talks to the Weequay and says, "Are there any Mandalorians here?" Weequay says he doesn't know, and he doesn't know what a Mandalorian is, and says he looks like me. And he says, well, what about that guy? And in walks Boba Fett.
Kind of.
Great value Boba Fett. So
dollar store.
Yeah, it was close. It was close. It was definitely picked up at the at the pawn shop Boba Fett. It was but this is Timothy Olyphant, right? So we knew he was going to guest this season. We didn't know what he was going to be. He plays a character called Cobb Vanth. And Cobb Vanth is wearing Boba Fett's armor. Mando is understandably upset about this and demands that he remove it. So there's some tense stare downs. Things go a little bit wonky.
Almost a shootout.
Almost a shootout. Very close to a shootout. And they come to an accord that after a crate dragon rolls through town and destroys a lot of the town, that if he helps him, if Mando helps Cobb kill the crate dragon, he'll give him the armor.
At this point, I'm referring to it as a sandworm because I don't know what else to call it.
Sure. So they go and we end up going. They end up going to find the crate dragon, and what they find are Tusken Raider sand people.
Woo!
So one of the neat things I really liked about this is Disney actually. So they show Mando communicating with him with the sand people, right? Speaking Tuscanese and actually using hand gestures and communicating via sign language. And one of the things I really liked that Disney did is they hired a deaf actor to play the Tusken Raider that was doing the communication, which is pretty cool.
No kidding.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty awesome. Before we get to that point, we had a montage. A montage. It was like the most 80s action movie thing ever. Of where
just missing some journey, huh?
Yeah, exactly. of how Cobb discovered the armor, et cetera, and we find out basically that after the Empire left Tatooine, the mining guilds moved in and just started enslaving people. So things didn't get better for anyone on Tatooine. It was just bad.
Yeah, vacuum of power. There's no huts.
Exactly. But what we find out that happened is, or how we find this out is that, we see Mando on his swoop, and then up next to him cruises Cobb, and Cobb has a bike built out of busted ass pod speeder or pod racer
Pod
parts.
racer, yeah. I absolutely love that.
And it was Anakin's pod racer engine.
Was it?
It was Anakin's pod racer engine, yeah.
I didn't notice that. I mean, I recognize it as a pod racing engine. I didn't recognize it as Anakin's old one.
That was Anakin's. At least I think it was Anakin's engine. I will say I cannot confirm that, but to me it looked enough like it that I said that's Anakin's engine. So that's anyway, cool. They talk to the Sand People. It's very tense because Cobb doesn't trust them. But basically, what it boils down to is they realize that they're going to need the Sand People's help in order to defeat the Krayt Dragon. And they go back to town. It's tense. Doesn't go terribly well, but they get a lot of explosives. A lot of explosives.
Like, what are you doing with this many explosives type deal?
Yeah, like I get that it's a mining colony and you need to blow some stuff up, but that's an awful lot of stuff to blow up when you have that many explosives. So you go and they go back and they end up fighting the Krayt Dragon and they win.
Like pissing it off.
Yeah, well, yeah, they piss it off. Mando decides to grab a bantha that is laden with explosives, gets eaten by the Krayt Dragon, blows him up from the inside, and is ejected forcibly from said Krayt Dragon and was covered in ecto cooler when it was all said and done. And this is all well and good. In a shocking turn of events, people on Tatooine kept their word. Cobb gave Mando the armor. The end of the episode, Mando is riding away on his swoop. And we see someone watching him as he rides away. And it pans out.
Figure.
And we don't see his face yet. We only see his silhouette from the back. And he's got a gaffy stick, which is the weapon the Sand People use. And he's got a long-range rifle that the Sand People use. He's wearing Sand People robes. But he turns around, and it's fucking Tamora Morrison, who played Jango Fett in the prequels, and is currently playing, we believe, Boba Fett in Mandalorian season 2.
What else could he be? Honestly,
it's got to be him. It's either a clone trooper or it's Boba Fett. Like that's what it comes down to.
All the clone troopers at this point are gray old men,
or dead,
or dead,
or very dead,
very dead.
It was a fantastic episode, top to bottom. Like it was smartly written. There was some really neat stuff that on a second viewing, like there's the scene where he and Cobb are speaking with the Sand People. If you watch that, there's a sand person that's actually removed a little bit from the group and is sitting back from the group. And I've seen a lot of people online saying, I think that was Boba Fett because he had the robes and he had the gaffy stick and he had the rifle. And he was just sitting back away from everything, like maybe kind of watching Mando. Hi, Gimli. I saw you move back there, buddy. His head moved.
Most movie we've done all day.
But yeah, it was pretty great. And you know, they were sparing with Baby Yoda in this one. They could have gone over the top, but they didn't do overkill with him. He hid in a spittoon at one point, which I thought was pretty funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought this is just a great episode. Like, what was your favorite part of it, Bob? I mean, other than Boba.
There were so many freaking callbacks. Like one of them, like right before the dragon ate the bantha with all the explosive on it, both Mando and the Marshal are standing next to it in their their Mandalorian gear. And Mando takes the back of his rifle, hits the jetpack on the Marshal, just like Han did in Empire Strikes Back, and the jetpack just mistakenly malfunctions and blasts off. I thought that was a great callback right there.
It very much was.
Yeah.
I liked that if you looked at the jetpack, there was a patch job done on it where where it had been shot in Return of the Jedi. So,
really?
Yeah, like there was metal welded onto the jetpack to show, which I thought was pretty cool.
I liked how we saw the first time that missile being used.
Yep, absolutely. I thought that was really neat. I liked that. So the character, I'm actually reading this right now as we're talking about this. The character of Cobb Vanth, who was Timothy Olyphant's character, this is his first appearance live screen or in live action.
Yeah,
but he was in novels before, which I didn't know.
Legend sources, not
legend
canon.
sources. Okay, so not in canon. I honestly thought when they introduced Boba, Oliphant's character wearing the armor, I thought it was going to be Jodo Kast, who from the Legends was a guy who found Boba's armor and pretended to be Boba Fett for a long time, but was like ridiculous. He's kind of like Dan Hibiki from Street Fighter. You know,
Oh God.
He was serviceable, but like when you kind of scratch the surface a little bit, you're like, you're not a Shotokan karate expert.
You're worthless.
Like, yeah, exactly. So I kind of thought that's what it was at first, but it being a different character from the lore and from the history of the books was pretty neat. I loved this episode. I thought it was great. I'm really looking forward to episode 2. I'm trying to watch as little about the season as possible because I want to go in, surprised when I actually get to watch them.
Absolutely.
Like I haven't watched the teaser for next week's episode yet, or this week's episode. I have no idea what's in it. I would imagine he's still looking for Mandalorians, and I'm assuming we're going to see Boba Fett. Like that's all I got. So
I'm wondering if I'm just speculating here because I'm pretty sure I watched the preview for the next episode, but for the love of God, I can't remember what they showed me. I thought it was like, oh, this was so good. Wait, what? What did you just show me? Okay, it doesn't matter. I think he's either going to stay on Tatooine for a little bit longer, like another 2 or 3 episodes, or he's going to leave immediately and then come back because obviously you can't do a reveal of Boba Fett without his armor and then not pay off on that.
Sure.
And I don't know how he's going to get off world because he seems like he's stuck unless he's there for a reason. Like he wants to kill all the Sarlaccs on the planet. I'm not really sure.
Yeah. I don't know. I have no idea. So it's going to be an exciting season. I'm looking forward to it. And I'm hoping we also find out more about, more about the child, but I hope they feature heavily on Mando this year. I hope it's his story and we learn more about the Mandalorians and stuff like that.
Now, I have a question for you.
Sure.
He was more or less, not really charged, but suggested to find the child's people.
Mm-hmm.
Now, my first question is, do you think that meant Jedi or do you think that meant the Yoda race?
Oh, I don't know. I have no idea. I think it could conceivably be either one. And I think that's like, I've seen one trailer for the season leading up to it. And we saw Sasha Banks was in it. We don't know who she's playing. There's rumors that Ahsoka is going to be in this season. So
I've heard a lot of rumors of that. Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll see. I mean, it could be that's what it is. It's Ahsoka. Or, there's been rumors of Ezra showing up in it as well, in live action Ezra. So we'll see. I don't know.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That means this Marshall and Blue Skin General.
Thrawn.
Jeez, yeah. These are 2 guys from the Legend series, which we assume were dead and gone, actually came back in some way. And oh my God, how great would it be if we had Thrawn in this in some way?
It would be amazing.
Trying to find his footings, like, okay, the Empire's gone. Now what do I do? Oh, I'll probably go into business for myself. And oh God, that sounds devastating, actually.
It could be really interesting. Really interesting. But yeah, so that's season 2, episode 1 of The Mandalorian. Absolutely wonderful to watch. I strongly urge you guys to check it out if you haven't done so yet. Yeah, definitely worth looking at. Bob,
Definitely.
have you checked out the new Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity demo?
I have played the demo that's available.
Yep,
because I knew about the Warriors series.
Mm-hmm.
And watching a couple of, I guess, like videos or trailers or something, and I was immediately turned off. I didn't want anything to do with it.
Sure.
And then they released a Zelda Warriors game, like a couple of years back. I guess was it for Skyward Sword or was it another game or Twilight Princess?
It is around Twilight Princess. It released on the Wii U. It was kind of in between Twilight and Breath of the Wild.
Okay.
So it was, somewhere in there.
I tried it, and the Warrior series is not really for me.
Okay.
It's constantly just swarms of enemies, hundreds at a time, over and over and over again. But I played a little bit of this new Hyrule Warriors, which the big selling point for me was the storyline for the Breath of the Wild prequels or whatever. And that right there is like, okay, I'm going to give this one a chance. The demo isn't very long. I think it's like 2 of the 4 chapters, which is basically like a tutorial and a little bit of a playthrough. And then, okay, you want more, you got to pay for it. That type of deal.
Yeah.
I really liked, it got repetitive as hell for me, but it still kept me intrigued because I was trying to figure out, are they doing like this time travel manipulation kind of storyline? I want to see where it's going. The storyline really has me interested, especially that little guardian.
The mini guardian?
Yeah, the one that sounds like Bubo from Clash of the Titans. I heard that whistle. I'm like, that's Bubo. You're not kidding me. I know that whistle. I know that Harry Hamlin movie. Come on.
Yeah, it's I liked it. I won't say I didn't like it. I liked it quite a bit. My problem with the Warriors games is I get bored with them really quickly because eventually it just does become the same thing over and over and over again. But I am curious if this is going to start bridging the gap between Breath of the Wild 1 and Breath of the Wild 2. Because we already see that time travel is a thing. Like we know it can happen now, based on the intro of that game. So yeah, I'm curious.
It the Song of Storms? No. But oh crap! What game from what song from Ocarina of Time played the Song of Time? I guess.
Yeah. So Secret Shame. I've played like 2 hours of the Ocarina of Time in my life.
Oh, you're a bad nerd.
I don't like it.
Oh.
I don't think it controls very well.
Oh God, here come the hate comments.
Well, that's fine. Bring it on. I don't care. It's. I mean, it's a fine game. It's not something I can play for a long period of time, and that's any N64 game. You know, it's.
Oh, speak for yourself there, buddy.
Well, to me, it's any N64 game, unless it's like No Mercy or Mario Kart. Like I can't invest myself for an extended period of time on it just because they're clunky to me. They show their age poorly, and I felt the same way when they released. Because it was like, I don't like the camera. I don't like the way the cameras control. I don't like Z targeting. And a lot of it had to do with the controller too. So.
Fair enough. It was the best I had at the time, so I absolutely loved it. It was like GoldenEye. Yeah, I'll play that sucker all day long.
I always forget about GoldenEye. GoldenEye was a good time. And I actually liked the first South Park game on it as well. I thought that game was pretty fun.
And Banjo-Kazooie and Conquer. The list is way too extensive for me.
Yeah, it's a good system, and I appreciate it more now that I'm older. But at the time, I just didn't dig it. I liked my PlayStation. I liked the controller there better. So,
fair enough.
I think that's about it. I think that's kind of it for this episode. I don't really have anything else to talk about. Like, I was hoping that the election was going to be called while we were on the air, but no, everyone's just sitting around pulling their dicks, trying to figure out what the hell's going on. So.
I'm so glad that Nevada is pulling a page from Florida's book. It's like, oh, that's how we screw this up. Okay. All right. Sure.
Yeah, we've got like outstanding right now is Georgia, Nevada, Arizona, Pennsylvania, and North Carolina. That's what's outstanding on the election right now. And no one knows what the hell's going on.
Well, to be honest, it's Nevada.
Yeah.
If Nevada goes blue, then it's over.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, as long as Arizona stays blue, then yeah. But I mean, that's every time a new vote drop comes through, the chances of that tipping red, lessen a little bit. But we'll see.
By almost 100,000 in Arizona, so I don't think it's likely, especially if all they have left are mail-in ballots. Yeah, it's not likely.
Looks right now on CNN, they're saying it's a 46,257 vote difference in Arizona. So. We'll see. Anyway,
that's as far as political talk as we're going to get.
Yes, that's all we're going to talk about. I am going to go back to watching CNN obsessively and stress pooping because that's what I've been doing for the last 4 days.
Maybe if I stare at it hard enough, it'll change.
How many times do I need to refresh this Reddit thread to get the results I'm looking for? But guys, do be sure to keep the discussion going on Twitter, Instagram, and our Discord. Links will be down below, or in other areas, or just search Cretins Guild and you'll find us. You can find the podcast on Podbean, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Tout, and you can find our socials under Cretins Guild, which contains links to everything extra like we do. That is Cretins Guild with no spaces, where you can find my YouTube channel, Square Pegs, which just hit 300 subs. Thank you, John Riggs, for the help on that. Skipper Bob's Breakdowns on YouTube, which is Bob's Orlando lifestyle and Disney vlog, or theme park vlog. I'm not gonna say Disney. You're an equal opportunity theme park attender.
If I had a SeaWorld pass, I'd be going there more often too.
Yeah, exactly. SeaWorld's pretty good. You can help to support us on Patreon, and we do have a merch shop on tpublic.com that features the artwork of the incredible Tom Solo.
Thank you, Tom.
If you're watching the live stream right now, you can see the Tom Solo artwork on Bob's shirt right now. Is that the Halloween design? Yes, it is.
Yep, it is.
We are, as mentioned at the top of the show, guys, part of the Podfix Network. Be sure to listen to all the great shows over there. So we say this to all our followers, new and old. Welcome
to the guild. Yeah, we'll screw that up again another time.
That's right.